Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. And welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a special time today, and we are glad that you can join us as we talk about riding the great Ascension wave. My guest today is a channel of higher dimensional beings, and she brings forward frequencies that will assist us during this great time. Sherry Mosley is with us, and we are so glad to see you, Sherry. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lauren, and everyone who's joining. It's my pleasure and privilege to be here.
Well, let's just jump right into our topic today. This is riding the great Ascension waves, and we have definitely been feeling it. This year of 2022 has been transformational. It really feels like the year of the goddess, whether we're male or female. The goddess energy, the divine feminine energy is rising. There's been stories of Kundalini rising within individuals. And I find that fascinating because that is an awakening of something within us. What's your take on what's going on here?
Well, my sense is that overall we are coming into a whole new threshold. And it's a bit mappable with the astrological events. So we've been through, I think, 16 years of Pluto in Capricorn. And so that's been a lot of the transformation and the deconstruction. Then we're coming to the crest of that wave now. And everything will move into Aquarius in March for 20 years after that. So we're kind of really, getting to the peak of a very intense cycle. And for me, it's been, I'm a double Capricorn. So I've been kind of at the forefront of that part of the wave, shifting with all the changes that have been coming through. And so, this year especially, has just been very, very transformative. We've done a lot of work with the Galactic Federation, helping us to shift. I believe it was the Arcturians, the spring, told us about the energy switch coming in July. And we all felt that at the end of July coming into August. And then we connected up on Mount Shasta. And, I connected with a bunch of other vortexes as well, if we want to start diving into that kind of map of what's been occurring.
Yes, okay, we're excited to talk about that in length, and also ET contact. Mount Shasta is a wonderful place for that, and you've actually been doing a lot of work in Mount Shasta with transmissions from there. But I want to jump back and ask you a little bit more about what the Arcturians said about the energy shift in July, or through July, and then coming in new in August, because I could say, without having any word of that or knowledge of that, what we felt from the collective in our audience is that June felt turbulent, kind of like a Mercury retrograde, but it wasn't a Mercury retrograde. Mm-hmm. July was twice as amplified as June. And it was almost like we were being shaken from something. Something was being shaken off us, perhaps. And it's interesting that August, you mentioned that there was this newness in August, because August did feel like it was free and clear, like the beep, the free and clear beep after a thunderstorm when you get back on a golf course. That's what it felt like. So what did the Arcturians have to say?
I'm getting goosebumps. All this. So that was in, we were doing the Galactic Federation, and then we did a Pleiadian event and then the Arcturian event, which these are included in the packages that we'll talk about a little bit later. But I just remember them showing all of us during the transmission that they called it a bifurcation was coming in July, and that they were helping us to prepare for that bifurcation. And I know we talk a lot about bifurcations in this ascension pathway that we're all on. But what this just means is it's almost like there are these threshold gates of where we're being asked to shed the pieces that are no longer resonant with us. You know, and a lot of these are old karmic patterns, ancestral karmic lineages that are, you know, they're still floating around in the collective and we're still holding on to them. And so all the eclipses that started in May, and I think they spilled into June, right? But at the end of June, I was seeing, yeah, people that were, it's just like kind of erratic behavior, right? Like a lot of pain flushing up. I was getting a lot of emails as well. And I said, oh, this is what the Arcturians were talking about, right? That there was this shift. And basically, what it is the energy was going to cycle up in August. So before we cycle up, there's usually a last call. Are you sure you want to bring this forward? You still want to keep playing this out? Or are you ready to release this and let it go and step into a higher alignment? Right. And so basically, everybody gets triggered in whatever their weak spots are or their shadowed spots. And so that's what the Arcturians were really, you know, giving us a heads up about. And I didn't fully understand it until I started seeing it and witnessing it. But I remember I was waiting to see what they were talking about. And yeah, they were very correct about what was occurring during that time. And then, yeah, the conjunction that was at the end of July was building up. So it's like the end of June was just like intense. And then July was like the filtering out of some things. So people may have been making changes in a lot of different areas. And then the end of July, the conjunction started coming in. And that first week of August, it was really hitting in. I think you were talking to Gene. He met up with the Galactics up in Shasta talking about it. So I think a lot of us were called up there for the new energies that were coming in. Last year when I was in Shasta, they told me, and I get these things and I don't really fully understand it until the time comes, but they said that the energy was going to completely change next August. And so that's when we did the Mount Shasta Golden Star of Light retreat, which everything is online and recorded. All of those transmissions of coming into this new energy that was unfolding in August. So that's what the Arcturians were leading towards here, and then then being sent to vortexes to do that work.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for listening to the inner guidance and sharing those transmissions. You are on a mission for that and you're doing your soul work, and we are really grateful for that. And we're going to talk more about those vortices on the planet and your role. As we do, I wanted to ask about, okay, so when we started, you were saying that, here's the Pluto energies and that influence, and that is coming to an end, a culmination or a peak. Mm-hmm. And that in March of 2023, there's something else that's happening. We are in Aquarius. Explain that.
Pluto moves to Aquarius. So then we're coming into, the age of Aquarius, right? And so the transformation will be through Aquarius, which, a lot of people are talking about. The technology will be shifting largely, and that will, just like things like, imagine before we had the internet, right? So some big evolutionary steps like that are going to start changing our world, which is necessary. So Capricorn's been tearing it all down, right? And then we're going to come into this higher energy. So yeah, it's exciting.
And there's this need to step up our pace, accelerate some things in our life. What is going on there? What should we be accelerating? What should we be focusing on as we prepare for this?
I'm not sure about the accelerating. I feel like that may be a personal experience for some. in a sense of, if you feel like things are accelerating, that there may be a rush, there may have been things that haven't been taken care of yet, right? And so now it feels like, uh-oh, I didn't do my homework and now the test is here. I got to hurry up and get everything in line. And this is why I was called to teach Akashic Enlightenment as a tool for receiving this higher guidance to align with your soul path, so that you do become prepared for these situations of transformation that are occurring, so that we're not completely, blindsided or caught off guard, and learning to stay in alignment in a co-creative place, and not so much in hesitation or digging our heels in, as the ego prefers it, to take what we call the long way around, right? We're moving to the golden path. And when you're on the golden path, my sense is, and this is why I'm calling it the great wave of ascension, is I keep getting this visual of this wave. And it's kind of like surfing, right? So when you're surfing, you have to be present with every moment of that wave. Otherwise, you're going to fall off, or you could be taken under by the wave. And so in the last transmission that we did in the 7 Gateways to Paradise Enlightenment, they're showing, dancing on the crest of the wave, right? And when you're in that flow, dancing along, there isn't really a sense of being rushed, as there is just almost like an excitement, right? Because you're letting go of any of the resistance. So the resistance causes that sense of putting it into time, which then feels like fast or slow, instead of a place of being. So everything is really, really coming to a moment of becoming really more present and in a deeper state of being with everything that is occurring. And then you'll hear the guidance and you'll know the next step. And then it's like, okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. And just really listening, right? And not putting it off.
Mm-hmm. That listening component. It's very interesting because I've heard from some that they're feeling jittery or
anxious. Yes, yeah. So I do feel that too. So that's the frequencies. It's funny, I was having it like right before we came here. It's just like a rush of energy coming in. And I've had a lot of trembling also. But we've been working with the vortex in Encinitas, which is the Golden Lotus Temple for Yogananda, which is focused on opening the Kundalini and all of that. So you could translate these things kind of together, that when you go through a personal awakening, there can be the trembling and the shaking as the body is it's readjusting its chi and its frequency to come into a new evolution of being, right? So it's releasing the denser frequencies or energies. I'm kind of getting that picture of, when a duck comes out of water and it's like, oh, let's shake everything off, right? So it's like we're coming out of these spaces and it's like, okay, let's readjust everything. But yeah, my sense is, as we come into these energies, that there can be that sense of some of the jitteriness and the trembling as well. And, really is just, again, okay, let's slow down. All right, slow down, be present. Okay. And then it can move through. You can already feel the difference, right? It's, and I keep getting that. I think I was just talking to my mom yesterday saying, there's just a lot of prompts for self-care of slowing down. Because when you slow down, then you can hear exactly what needs to be done. So the jitteriness is also almost like I'm busy doing something right now. Don't force me to go and do something external, which can be difficult because we have like material world needs or concerns, but there's a lot happening internally that we need inward time to allow it to fully blossom.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that. It that slowing down, as you said, allows us to hear and to follow the guidance of our soul. I was going to ask, how do we follow the guidance of our soul and listen? And it really is that slowing down and taking that time to be quiet. Do you have any other suggestions on how people can tune in to their soul guidance? Sometimes people feel so disconnected from that. Do you have a tool or a suggestion to tune
Well,
back?
Akashic Enlightenment is the tool. Yeah, you can open your own Akashic Enlightenment. The Gateway Prayer is in my book, which is available online. It's like $10. You know, you can jump in and then just really slowing down and being present, being in nature. But I have also seen that, you know, there, even in that space, you know, sometimes there can be a sense to want to hear what you want to hear, right? So again, it's coming to that, really slowing down so that you don't miss what is happening, and especially in anything that's in transition. So anything old that's leaving or anything new that's coming in, right? It's like, okay, let's be hyper aware, okay? Because that's where all the information is. Mhm.
All right, fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to have a transmission from you in this episode here. Do that shortly. But one of the exciting things is the ET contact.
Mhm.
You've been in ET contact from an etheric realm, or maybe it's another realm. Share with us what's happening with ET contact from your perspective.
So yes, the ET contact is, you know, it's part of the path of ascension and awakening. So when I talk about Akashic enlightenment, basically you're just opening those higher chakras above the head, that pillar of consciousness. And once you have that pillar of consciousness open, then you start to become aware of, you know, other frequencies of consciousness, and extraterrestrials are a part of that. Right. And so at first it may be a little off-putting to some when it just kind of happens. And oftentimes that's usually a part of somebody's awakening, is to have those types of encounters. But if you are initiating contact, you know, like Stephen Greer, or like I do when I go up to Mount Shasta with a group, this is a sense of you're just connecting with other beings with your consciousness, being very present to allow communication to come in. So it's like we're coming back to being that universal being that we've forgotten that we are. And once we start doing that, then we are connecting also to other aspects of ourselves as a multidimensional being that's connected to all that is. So there can be a lot of, you know, knowledge that you can learn from these interdimensional, or I say interdimensional or extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial just means off of Earth, but many of these beings are also in other dimensional spaces, like the Aquilorians, who I work with. Right, they're in a different frequency than a lot of the, you know, Arcturians or Andromedans, Pleiadians, Sirians, all the Galactic Federation that a lot of people are used to. It's been termed that the Aquilorians are the angelics to the Galactic Federation. So in this sense, it's just a sense of coming to a different frequency of the contact that is occurring, right? So just as on Earth, right, there's lots of different dimensions of consciousness between human beings, right? You could say someone like the Dalai Lama is very high consciousness. Okay, so he would be considered almost like a human angelic, right? And he's kind of looking over all of us. So in the interdimensional being community, there is that set up as well, depending on where your consciousness is able to go in terms of how high it's going. That's going to start to depict the beings that you contact, as well as how those interactions are, how they're going, right? Whether it's, you know, you have a lot of fear in your narrative that may be played out in those interactions. Again, you know, that's going to be either extraterrestrial or interdimensional being contact, or even with humans. It's so it's the lens that you are doing this connection through that also affects how the communication is. So in a shamanic world, this is why we like to have an intention before we go and do a connection, right? Just like, any important meeting that you would do, it's like, okay, well, let's, take a minute and check in. And okay, why are we coming together? Why are we joining? What is our purpose here? Let's be present with that and align in that and connect about that and learn more. They enjoy connecting with us and we enjoy connecting with them. And so the more present that we can be in those intentions, the more clear the communication will be. And, it may shift too who you're connecting with. People who do my work know that I kind of do a spectrum of beings, whether it's, the shamanic spirits in Mount Shasta, sometimes connecting to the Telos beings, Adama that's there, or, then it's like, okay, well, the Andromedans really want to come through, or the Pleiadians really want to come through. They have some knowledge to share, or the Aquilorians, right? And so it really depends on what your alignment is in terms of who you're connecting with. When I met the Aquilorians, I had a calling to go up there to meet them. But once I met them, I was told that the reason I'm aligned with them is because I work in Akashic Enlightenment all the time. So my frequency is setting the template to connect with an extraterrestrial race that would be of that frequency of consciousness.
So how did you identify, or how do you identify who it is that you're connecting with? Do you hear? Do you sense? Do you feel? What goes on there?
Yeah, well, I'm super psychic, so that helps. Yeah, and you could say I'm a psychic medium, which means I'm clairvoyant. So yes, I can see them. I can describe what they look like, and sometimes, there's colors or forms, so size, height, what facial structures look like, but there's also like a presence. They have a different frequency or a personality that they each carry. And the more that you connect with them, the more that you can become familiar with that sense. And yeah, it's kind of just like, I'm just kind of seeing this scene of like when you go to a school or university, right? There is, okay, well, these are the teachers, that's the faculty, and this is, the office where they run everything. But there's a sense when you go into the office to meet somebody, you kind of, what the purpose is there, right? So it's kind of similar. They have different communities, organizations, things that are arranged. And so it's also like how the interaction is going, whether we're doing like really spiritual healing work, or sometimes I've met other beings that are very technical oriented, technology oriented. And this is more in the readings that I do. So I do the Akashic Aura light language sessions where I look at people's galactic connections. And this goes into any of their galactic connections, which, span way far outside of the Galactic Federation. And so, part of it's practice, right? So shamanic journeying, when you go to non-ordinary reality, you're going to meet your power animal and your spirit teacher, and you're learning to clairvoyantly see and clairaudiently listen. And then also sometimes you'll get sensations. I can't remember what that clair is, but you'll feel the energy, whether, oh, they're giving me a teaching or I'm getting a healing, right? And so all of those aspects just come into practice. But yeah, I was born psychic. And so it's just a matter of learning how to use that to be of service rather than debilitating, because originally it was debilitating. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And of service you are. Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the Earth's vortexes, Earth's vortices.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been called to some of those. One, how would you tell when there's a vortex somewhere? Is it created by the spiritual energy? And or is it natural? What goes on in that instance?
From what I've been told, it's like the vortexes, they just have, number one, it's like the land is just different, the way that it's set up geologically. And number two is it's kind of like a church, nature's church, right? And if people continue to go there, it starts to set up the energy field even more to receive these higher frequencies. Like some churches are vortexes of themselves because of the work that continues to be done there, right? And so when you combine the two together, like the Golden Lotus Temple in Encinitas, right? And so Yogananda also, he had a vision that he was supposed to build a temple out there. But then when you go there, and I found out, oh, there's a vortex here. This is why he was called to build a temple here. And so you can just feel that the frequency is different there, and it's easier to connect to higher energies. It's just less dense. And that vortex actually connects. There's a line that I was shown when I was there that goes from Encinitas to Joshua Tree to Sedona, which then goes into the ocean, where we have visited the City of Light and the Temple of Light, which then connect up to the Hawaiian Islands, right? Which we know Haleakala on Maui. We've done work with that vortex, as well as in previous years, Kauai, and connecting with the Pele goddess there. Kauai is known more for rebirth, and the Haleakala and Mount Haleakala in Maui is a lot more of transformation, right? So it can be a little bit rough, but there's a high spiritual component there. But yeah, these are definitely hot spots of where the new frequencies come in, which is why then people say, oh, I'm so drawn. Like I was drawn, I'd never known about the temple and Encinitas. And I was like, why am I being called to go down there? And that started last December, right? And so they were already starting to bring in what was going to be starting this year, the energies. So yeah, those vortexes, you'll have just an irresistible call to go somewhere. That said, I've also shamanically visited vortexes, which is what we do in the transmissions, right? So via a shamanic journey, which is called the middle world journey, right? We first enter the vortex through the middle world, right? Because it's in the material plane, and we use that then to go into non-ordinary reality. And then we go and connect with the higher beings and whatever transmissions need to come through. And we're doing that while staying in one place. So I've done that work. If I feel called to a vortex, sometimes I'll do a shamanic journey and go there if I can't go in person. And then you can meet up with the beings, download what you need to, and align. What's going on? So energy.
It was just a loud thunderbolt.
Oh, lightning. Oh, exciting. Yeah, so yeah, the vortexes are little places to go when we feel there's big transition coming in. You know, and some of us, like myself, are working with that energy to then share that with the collective. So we'll be called. And I know some other people that are in Akashic Enlightenment that were being called to vortexes in different parts of the states. So yeah, sometimes there's some that are lesser known, but you'll know when you get there because there's a sense of something transpiring, like energy shifting, something going on. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we can use Sedona as an example, or even Mount Shasta.
Mm-hmm.
Sedona is maybe people have to go sit down and fall asleep or take a nap when normally you wouldn't need to take a nap. Those sorts of things, right? I mean, it's the energy is different. And where our energy would be, if it's not equal to the energy of that vortex, that's why you'd have to lay down or take a nap or any, do something different. And that's one indicator that you're in a vortex. Some people have even gotten nauseous and sick.
Mm-hmm. I burp and hiccup when we do contact in Shasta.
Really?
Yeah, but that's why, something like Akashic Enlightenment, if you're in your Akashic enlightenment, it makes it a lot easier to interface with high frequency places because you are then in more alignment and in higher frequency. Right. And this is why, I often say, with Mount Shasta, you need to come with some respect because it is powerful, right? And you want to be in a very humbled place of following guidance when you're there, and then you will receive the benefits and the beauty of what is being offered there. Otherwise, it can be a bit of a rough or bumpy experience.
Yeah, that's like in Hawaii, and also where else did I see that? Peru, Machu Picchu in Peru is very much like that as well. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's go on a transmission.
Oh, okay.
Let's go on a transmission.
All right. So we'll just allow the higher beings to bring in whatever is needed for the collective at this time for this great wave of ascension that is going to be rapidly unfolding now that we are in this new energy and the planets are beginning to come direct. I'm just kind of gathering all of the beings. So there's the Elohim and the councils of light. I tend to do light language with them, as well as the Apolorians are starting to come in now. And we have also Ascended Master Jesus and Archangel Metatron coming in. And they are the usual spirit guides, teachers that show up for the work that I do. And there is light language, so we're going to start with light language. Karauna ne kasha oko ura naka naheatara oko haka no oto oko hata hata oko rahata anohoko oko na ne hako a noko onoko ko a ko na a ko oto a ara no oko a nohata nohata no ko ra oko a ora a no nota onoto a toa nohoto onoto na nehata no oko to oto nohoto oto nohoto a nahatara ato natara nohoto otoa nahata nahata ne a hata hata. Right now, it looks like we're really connecting to the golden solar Christ frequencies. So this is just assisting, bringing in forgiveness, love, blessings, for gifts to unfold for everyone coming into this new, beautiful age of being, a rebirth. I'm just allowing you to be held through this rebirth. Clearing any senses of unworthiness or fears of who you truly are as a soul connected to the light of source and all that is. And just bringing forward any needed frequencies from Mount Shasta or Encinitas or Mount Haleakala or even Sedona. And just allowing these frequencies to flow through. Opening up the gateway to connect with your higher guidance, including any star family lineages, connections that you have. You may feel your star being connection coming in, a member of that family coming in. We have Mantis being who usually oversees a lot of this galactic connection, approved by the Ascended Masters. And there's just a sense of love and celebration beginning to come through. Really showing the harmony and the unity once you're in these higher frequencies on the crest of this ascension wave. Feeling the support. And that you're being held through the process. And they're inviting you to return home, meaning coming back to your soul's home, connected to Source and all that is. Because from here, everything else falls into place and is understood. And just moving you to feeling the peace, the presence. You can feel the stillness that is here. In this centered stillness, it's where everything else is manifested from. Be it ET contact, Ascended Master contact, vortex connection, Ascension guidance, light language. It's all coming back to this centered stillness point. So a little bit of releasing of fears or unworthiness. And this is where the trembling or feeling of tingling or rippling of energy coming through. As you dust off those frequencies. Coming into this higher alignment, higher awareness. And from this perspective, all else comes into place. Now just slowly starting to return to the present space that you're in. Sense of coming back. Maybe feeling really relaxed. Beautiful.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's pristine, pristine, nurturing, nourishing, nourishing, nourishing. Thank you.
Yeah, the stillness is almost like that yin that our world craves, that divine feminine.
Yes, the mother energy. That's what it feels like. The mother energy being held. So very peaceful and exquisite. Thank you. Thank you, Sherry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
That is a beautiful experience of what you do in all your transmissions. Thank you. So let's open this up now for our Zoom audience. Those on Zoom, if you have a question for Sherry, please, you can raise your hand on the Zoom panel, and you can we can unmute you, and you can ask your question, or questions can go in the chat box as well.
The connection's stronger if you unmute and speak rather
Yes,
than.
the voice is
Yes.
preferred. So raise your hand if you'd like, and if you'd like to share your experiences, please do that. Okay, so this is a beautiful time to go over, as we're waiting for some audience members to come back fully,
Yeah.
because I know it's we don't want to leave, we don't want to disturb that peace.
Yeah, it can be hard to speak or think after you're in that stillness.
Yeah. So this is a great time to share with people how they can work more with these energies, with you and the transmissions that you do. So let's talk about that. In our chat box, I've put a link to this episode where people can find the special offer. And you've got some things in there from your past experiences, but there's also something coming up soon here that we can talk about, the Whale Wisdom Keepers. Let's first talk about your special offer, Sherry. This is
Yeah.
beautiful. Tell us more.
Yeah, so the first is if you're really wanting to connect to the extraterrestrials, there is the extraterrestrial contact package connecting to the Galactic Federation, the Arcturians, Pleiadians, Andromedans. All of those connections are a package. And then the other package is if you feel very called to connect to the vortexes. There are all of the transmissions from those vortexes, and that is in Maui, and that was in March. And then in July, we were connecting to Encinitas. We did the galactic light being. So that's a little combo of galactic and a vortex. And then, of course, Mount Shasta, which is always galactic, very, very galactic. And those transmissions are quite powerful as well. And there was some extra work that we did with the Aquilorians when we were there as well. So there's a little bit of the Aquilorian work in there. And so those two will really help you come into alignment with a lot of the shifts that have come through. You'll get a very good example of connecting with the Akashic Enlightenment field. You can also open your own Akashic Enlightenment for any of the transmissions to increase the connection. And then the third package is actually a webinar, which I don't think I've ever shared this through your platform before. So this is rare and special. It is a recorded webinar of Akashic Enlightenment Level 1 training, so that you can go ahead and really learn how to use Akashic Enlightenment. You can get some experience working with it. There's daily meditations. There's also some prep meditations for, coming into your own energy, but you'll go through connecting to your past lives. You'll connect to your ascension energies. You'll connect to learning about ascension and relationships. And then the last class of that, it's a 5-class package, Akashic Enlightenment Level 1. The last one is Divine Love and Healing, which is my favorite class of Level 1. So that's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to do that. Webinar replay is the third package. Yeah.
Thank you so much for offering this and for sharing this. It is a great way for people to dive in and be supported by these frequencies. Very, very good. Thank you. And I wanted to say also on this page, because this is starting soon, the Whale Wisdom Keepers. Oh my goodness. Tell us about this one. Yeah.
Well, there's two actually, because as we were doing the transmission, they invited everyone to the Aquilorian Back to the Immortal Being, which is starting the week after the Whale Wisdom Keepers. So Whale Wisdom Keepers will be on Thursdays, and that is starting this week. And these are beautiful. They're coming into the new energy. They showed up just in August. And it's very shamanic. We are in the Akashic Enlightenment field, but we are connecting to these ancient whale wisdom keepers. And, they were on Earth before we were here. And so they have a lot of ancient knowledge to share with us of how to go through these transitions. And they've also been in contact with extraterrestrials long before we have. So they are very much in the know. They are connecting to the higher frequencies, helping them ground them in long before we ever have been. And so they're really assisting us with all of these new energies that are coming in and how to really navigate the new frequencies that are here now while connecting to Earth, helping to materialize it on the Earth plane, but then also connecting to the galactic energies. So this is like a series that started. So this will be Whale Wisdom Keepers 2, Galactic Whale. So we will be connecting to the whales on this Earth dimension and then connecting to other galactic dimensions and how those planets have gone through shifts like we are now. So again, this is a very, shamanic experience of connecting to, you could say, the power animal or the animal teacher to help you to bring in this higher consciousness and energy healing to get through these transitions that we are going through. They're quite beautiful. They're very different than the other events that I do, but I really, really love them. And they have that very nurturing energy as well of being held and safely transitioned through all of this. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. We have put the links on the page for this episode. So all of those items, the packages that you have, that's a button in a special offer. The Whale Wisdom Keepers, there's another button for that. And then the Aqualorian transmissions. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all of these transmissions and doing your work to assist us all during this great shift of the ages. Yes, we are in it. Let's go to our Zoom audience, and we are going to ask Sharon. Sharon, please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you. Hi, Sharon, you can unmute. It is, there you go. Hi, Sharon.
Hello, Sharon.
So you are unmuted, Sharon, but maybe your computer microphone has a mute button on it that you need to fix. Okay. We'll leave that line open and maybe Sharon will be able to figure that out in a moment. Okay. Well, let's go back to Sherry. Sherry,
Mhm.
what do you have planned then for coming up the rest of this year?
Yes.
What do you see as the energy of and the need of the hour in this?
It looks very dynamic, right? So there's going to be, you were saying like a quickness, and it seems like a lot of growth, right? And so you could say it's like a growth spurt, not just individually, but also collectively, right? So, there may be some grumblings in the collective field, and then some shifting in your personal lives, especially when we come through the eclipses that are coming in October and November. But I've actually, and it's rare, I've been given events all the way through December, and it's rare that they plan everything out like that. But doing that, I'm very aware that there is a plan. And just knowing that there is a plan, it allows you to just surrender and go, okay, well, what am I doing as a part of that plan today? Right? What is that next step that I need to be most present with now? Because that's going to then unfold everything else that is to come, right? So again, coming back to that most present step. Yeah, but we have the Aqualorian immortal, coming back to the immortal being, which I think is going to be very, very powerful transmission. And then we'll have a third Whale Wisdom Keepers after this second one. And then I think there's going to be an Andromedan event, and then an event with Archangel Metatron at the end of the year. So a lot of very high frequency work, and then very nurturing work. It seems to be the two frequency fields that we're working in. So it's like really being brought up into the high frequencies and then being gently held and guided through the transition that is occurring. So we're all fully supported. Yeah.
So as people go through these times, I know you mentioned to be very present and work with the Akashic enlightenment and really tune in to our inner guidance. But do you have any idea or suggestion for letting go of that which no longer serves us? I mean, we just hear that so much, so much, so much. And there could be a trepidation or a resistance to letting
Yeah.
go. I mean, especially when it comes to relationships.
Yep.
Right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
we did the
what do you,
yeah, we did the Aqualorian conscious relationship transmission while we were in Mount Shasta, because that is so they did a personal healing, they did conscious relationship, and then abundance and stepping out of lack, right? Because those are basically the three biggest areas, right? And so yeah, it's really, yeah, letting go of the relationships. I mean, there's going to be signs if it's exploding in your face. then you've already missed 5 steps ago where you were supposed to go, wait a minute, this is out of alignment, right? And so, a lot of souls I find get stuck in, but we're soul connected and this and this and this, but yeah, okay, you're connected as a soul, but how in alignment is each soul to that alignment? Because that is going to make or break whether that relationship, whether it's your boss, your medical practitioner, your partner, even family members, it doesn't really matter the relationship, right? All that matters is how in alignment is that soul with themselves, and how alignment are they in the purpose of you two coming together. And if they're not, then you accept that. And in that acceptance, you accept, oh, okay, that's where I was holding on to a false belief. And then it's gone. Then it's an invitation for them to come forward into that higher alignment or not. And if they choose not, don't hang out just to hang on to something that you're wanting because you have a fear of being alone, or that you won't find somebody else, or that, it triggers abandonment, whatever that is, right? There's a sense of, oh, okay, I can accept that. I'm going to come to terms with that and just let them go on the path that they're choosing, right? That's their choice. So.
Yes. I mean, that sounds so simple, but when
this is where I do a lot of readings for people.
Yeah, when hearts are entwined, when we care so much. But the biggest caring, the best way to care is to take that stance, to care so much, to let it go and be experienced.
Right. Because you're not really serving yourself or another by staying in it. You're preventing them from growing out of that karmic state by stepping into it with them and staying there. Right? It's A Course in Miracles, they call it true empathy versus false empathy. Right? It's like, okay, what is true? What is really true here? Are you truly seeing that person? Are you truly seeing yourself? Are you truly seeing how you are connecting? Right? But it can be hard to see. And that's, like I said, that's why I do a lot of readings for people around relationships and getting brave enough to step out of it. But I do know that a lot of souls are really struggling with that. So also nurturing that fear, that inner child, like let that crying, that terror, just let it come up and clear out and realize, oh, I was putting that frequency into this connection and creating a misalignment. But really connecting to the emotional body to allow that to clear is where I find a lot of people are, they're shut down in the emotions. Maybe they didn't learn how, right? Or it can feel scary, like everything's going to end and fall apart. But it's really just that frequency that you've been running is falling apart and it's dismantling. And that lower density is leaving.
So just open up for the new and the fresh coming in. It will be better, right? It will be better. Yes.
But yeah, give time to shed. It's okay to cry and let it go. And yeah.
Thank you. And we are psychic because Sharon said that we just answered the question that she had. Isn't that?
Of course.
Pick up on the collective. Yes. Okay. Well, this has been beautiful. And I invite everyone to click on the link in our Zoom chat box, or to scroll down on this webpage that you're watching this on, or even in the description of where you're watching or listening to this video, you will find a link to Sherry's programs, which are really beautiful. People love them and love the experience. So if you resonate with this, we invite you to check it out. Again, it's a beautiful gift. Thank you so much, Sherry. As we say goodbye today, I want to give you a moment for final thoughts. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you. It's been my pleasure to be here. Such an honor to be doing this. And just, keep going. That's it. Just keep going, right? Whatever that next little step is, if you get overwhelmed or scared, just keep going. And my sense is there's actually a lot of beautiful gifts coming in too. So really acknowledge, be grateful for those gifts, right? And then they will just build and increase, and you'll just be in this new reality, this new dimension that you are grounding into the new earth grid. So thank you for doing that.
Yes, thank you for helping this planet be that new earth grid that we're grounding into, that is within each of us, and our heart leads the way. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for your bright light and your love. We're doing it, and we're doing it together. Thank you, Sherry. So much love to you. Namaste.
So much love.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.